My rich uncle raised me after my parents dumped me at 13. 15 years on, they arrived grinning. Can you imagine standing at the funeral of the man who saved your life, the only father you ever truly knew, only for your biological parents, the ones who abandoned you 15 years ago, to stroll in, draped in cheap knockoffs, exchanging greedy smirks, ready to collect a fortune? My heart wasn't just broken, it was absolutely enraged. I was 28, and the man who taught me what love and family truly meant was gone, but the universe apparently had one last, bitter lesson for me that day. My name is Della. It was just yesterday that I was at Uncle Walter's funeral, my eyes still swollen from crying. He was the man who scooped me up when my own parents tossed me aside, 15 long years ago. Now, in the plush waiting room of an upscale law firm, the elegant mahogany door swung open, and my breath caught in my throat. There they were, Frank and Elaine. My parents. 15 years of silence, and they dared to show their faces, looking less mournful and more expectant. They looked like they were already counting the millions they thought they were about to inherit. My childhood in Pittsburgh was a stark contrast to this luxury. We lived in a rundown apartment where sirens were our nightly lullaby. Peeling paint, broken elevators, and that constant, damp smell of mold. Our tiny one-bedroom apartment somehow housed 4 of us, with my little brother Tommy and I sharing a pull-out couch in the living room. Most nights, our parents were just gone. It was always up to me to look after Tommy. My dad, Frank, worked sporadically as a construction worker, but his real passion was sports betting. Every payday was the same depressing cycle. He'd cash his check, stop at the bookies, and disappear for hours. Sometimes, he'd return jubilant, treat us to ice cream, and promise a better future. More often, he'd stumble home drunk, reeking of cheap whiskey, his mood as volatile as a summer storm. One minute, he'd be crying, telling us he loved us. The next, he'd be throwing plates against the wall because dinner was cold. "You're just like your uncle, always judging me," he'd snap if I ever dared to ask where the rent money had gone. I learned early on to read his moods, to know when to speak and, more importantly, when to just vanish. My mom, Elaine, worked at a department store makeup counter. She was beautiful, but in a brittle, fragile way, always with carefully applied makeup and clothes she couldn't afford. She'd blow her paychecks on designer knockoffs and costume jewelry, constantly dreaming of the luxurious life she felt she deserved. In her mind, Tommy and I weren't her children. We were anchors, dragging her down from the glamorous life she might have had. "I could have been a model," she'd sigh, looking at old photographs. "I could have been somebody before I got stuck with you too." Tommy was 3 years younger than me, a gentle soul with asthma and a natural talent for drawing. He had dad's dark curls, but mom's delicate features. From the moment he was born, I appointed myself his protector. I made sure he took his medicine, helped him with homework, and tried my best to divert our parents' anger when it threatened to engulf him. Food was always scarce. I became an expert at stretching a jar of peanut butter for days, cutting each sandwich into 4 tiny triangles to make it seem more substantial. I learned and then watched the full story link is attached below.